What's up, guys? Horror Man back for another review. So today we're going to take a look at the NECA Toys Mirage Comics Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Casey Jones figure. Now this figure is based on the classic color, and I think for a lot of people this is definitely going to be the preferred look, including myself. So taking a look at the packaging here, it's the same exact packaging as that we've seen for the most part. Definitely in the front there isn't a whole lot different going on. Mainly what you're going to see is with the Kevin Eastman art, you'll just see the color variation. So looking at the artwork on the front, you can see this really cool picture of Casey at the bottom, and notice it says classic colors in parentheses. You got a nice clear shot of Casey inside. You can see his new color scheme. Over to the other side, you see number 13, which is appropriate. It's almost like Friday the 13th. And you get, of course, a nice profile shot of Casey, the NECA logo, and again, you got the red shirt. And then over to the side, again, it's the same artwork as we saw in the original release for Casey, but it's just in these different colors. Now, over to the back, you do see a couple things different. For one, they did add the hanging tag, which they haven't had for the Mirage figures. But you also see a lot more pictures, or some different pictures here. Notably, you'll see that he has arm wraps on his arms this time. So it looks like we have some unique sculpting with this particular release. And then also, it says to be continued, and you see 3 characters coming out. So a bit of a teaser on the bottom. So really cool. You do get the UPC and everybody responsible for making the figure. I'm definitely really excited for this figure, so let's go ahead and get this out of the box and have a closer look. Alright, so here's Casey outside of the packaging, and he looks fantastic in these classic colors. For me, this is the Casey that I wanted from the Mirage line, so I'm just really happy to see him finally in these colors. So before we get too far into the review, I do want to show you, just like with all the other Turtles figures, you do get a cool little backdrop that's inside, and it's just got that Eastman and Laird style, this like New York, buildings in the background, just like apartments and stuff. So this will look pretty cool. You can get the perspective right, maybe put this a little farther away in the background. But it's always nice to have those backdrops. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the head sculpts first. Look at the body, the new colors. You do get some new sculpting with this one, which is a bit of a surpriser for me. I thought it would just be mostly just a repaint, but we do get some new sculpting. So let's go ahead and start taking a look at the head sculpts. Alright, so taking a look at the hockey mask head sculpt first. It's really good. I mean, I thought the first release was excellent, so I didn't really think there was much need to change anything with this one. I do think the strap on the hockey mask is just a little bit more of like a lighter brown for this release. And then also the highlights, like in the hair, especially like on the top portion, look like they might stand out just a little bit more compared to the first one. And I'll show you the first one real quick, just to show you a quick comparison. But yeah, pretty much the same as it was in the first release, and that's just fine. It looked great. And just give you a nice profile shot. I really do love how they do the hair with this hockey mask sculpt. It looks really cool, kind of like how it's like pushed back a bit. But yeah, really nice. Like the length looks about right. Cool little damage on the hockey mask as well. And you get a little bit different damage on the right side of the hockey mask, which looks awesome. But yeah, for the most part, these masks, like this whole head sculpt, looks pretty much exactly the same as the first release. So pretty happy with that. And here's another quick shot, and you get to see the back of the hair. So really nice sculpting on here. Honestly, it's fantastic sculpting on this particular head sculpt. Just very, very happy with this. Again, maybe a little bit more, slightly a bit more highlights in the new one. But yeah, for the most part, pretty much the same. Now, just like with the first release, you do get an interchangeable head sculpt with Casey, and which is going to be the unmasked head sculpt. And I kind of wish they would have revisited this, because I just don't like the expression. If you watch my review of the IDW color variant, I just wasn't huge on this expression. It just looks more like an enemy than like a friend. So Once you get the head sculpt off, it's just going to look like that. So once you get the head sculpt on, it's going to look like this. And for the most part, I mean, I do think they did a good job with the sculpt. I just don't like the expression. It's just like, I kind of think of Casey as like, kind of like the smirk or kind of smiling like sarcastically. I feel like he's angrier with the mask on, but you don't really see those angry faces. You mainly just see, you know, the hockey mask, of course. So I'm sure most people are going to display this with the mask. But yeah, I kind of wish they would have gave us a different variation of expression on this one. Here he is, just like a 3/4 turn. You can see they have done a pretty good job with the hair. I do think the front, like the bangs, are a little short. I know his hair kind of varies from page to page, but I feel like it would have looked a little bit cooler, just a little bit longer in the front. But they did do a good sculpting for the most part on the hair. And here's a quick shot of the left side of his face. I don't see the highlights quite as much when he's unmasked, so that's kind of worth noting. And then over to the back of the head, again, very nice sculpting work on the hair. So overall, I do think it's a pretty good head sculpt. It just would have been nice to get a slightly different expression. Alright, so moving down to the torso here, this is when things really start to get awesome for this figure, because you have the red shirt. You'd be surprised how many people want the classic colors. No, you wouldn't. Honestly, most people, I think, want the classic colors. IDW is a very interesting color scheme for these Turtles reprints. Some characters, just a couple slight changes. Other characters, they look nothing like they usually do. Casey, it's not as bad with Casey, but some of the colors make more sense now. So just starting with the torso, of course you do get the red shirt, which I always think the red really pops. You do see a bit of a muted red with like the Shredder and the Foot Clan, but with Casey, this red shirt kind of pops a bit more. But it's the same shirt as we saw before, just a different color, so you got some nice line work in there, you got the ripped off sleeves, some wrinkles, you got some nice lines in the like the abdomen and the musculature, so I do like how they did that. Even have some lines in like the neck, just has that really cool Mirage Comics, just classic line work done. And overall it looks really, really good. You also have brown gloves, which he had a bit more of like a gray glove on the first release. So yeah, like these colors just make more sense to me. Just a quick look at the back, you can see more of those lines and wrinkles in the shirt, and again a little bit of lines in the body, and just like I guess just a line in the back where his spine is. So just really nice work all around. And finally down to the lower half of Casey here, again this is where the colors really change again. You do have the jogging pants, which make a whole lot more sense in this color. It's a bit more of like a gray color, maybe just like a hint of blue, but it definitely looks more like jogging pants. With the regular like IDW color release, they look more like jeans, and then even the shoes look more like hiking boots. So with this one, you're going to get the classic jogging pants, and then of course the white Reeboks, which to me is a huge thing. If you remember, like in the 80s, they had these Reeboks that had like these Velcro straps across them, and that's exactly what Casey is wearing. So when IDW changed the color of it, they just look like hiking boots or something, so just doesn't make sense. So having these colors switched looks so much better to me. And just a quick shot at the back of the pants here. Not too much line work on the legs. You do have some around the waist and on his bottom here. And then of course you do have some line work on like where the elastic would be on the bottom of the jogging pants. Looks really good. Can't say enough about these shoes. Like the back of those shoes, they look exactly like those Reeboks, man. I'm just so happy they got these shoes right. I mean, it is perfect, man. That's exactly what they look like in the comics. Alright, so going over the articulation, not really going to see anything different here. We'll just start with the head sculpt. So you do get some nice tilt action going on. You can look down pretty good. You can look up okay. The hair does get in the way just a little bit. Plenty of rotation, so you could turn his head. just fine. The arm articulation was pretty good on this guy. Get that T-pose pretty well. They go down all the way as well, which is nice. Really good double hinge articulation. He does have a bicep swivel. And then of course you do have the wrist articulation if you want him to flex. Does get that. Can rotate all the way around with the wrist. So yeah, man, really nice articulation up top, and that is really important for a Casey Jones figure. So the waist, a little bit of rotation, not much at the shirt. Can rotate the waist all the way around. You want to get him in a kind of a walking pose or something, you can get that done pretty easily. Huge split, probably get more. Get the karate kick going. Out about this far, this like what they call like a diaper type piece does get in the way a bit, so might be a little tough on certain angles, like straight on. Back, you got the you go back, he does have the double knee joints, and he can move his leg back a little bit. Again, that kind of diaper part gets in the way a bit, but he does have good double knee articulation. Can rotate at the thigh, and then you can rotate the shoe right at that little cuff. Go up a little bit, down a little bit, and then he's got really nice rocker. But yeah, for the most part, he actually functions really well. Great articulation. Alright, so taking a look at Casey's accessories, we're going to go ahead and start with all the stuff that you already got with the first release. So of course you're going to get his storage bag, which is just the golf bag. Got some nice line work on here. Got the pocket on the one side. Put it on this side here. And I do recommend having the head sculpt off. It's just a lot easier to get this bag on. And once you get it on, you can see it just has it going across just like that. And I'm going to have the unmasked head on here, and I'll show you why in a second. Alright, so now Casey is all ready to get equipped here with his bag. And of course you do have his baseball bat, and you can see that you do have some nice like grip tape on there. Nice line work, just like we would see with all the Mirage accessories and figures. Go ahead and just put that right in there. And you do get 2 of the baseball bats. And you never can be complete without your hockey stick. And this is a really cool version of the hockey stick. I love the different grip tape on here. A little bit of grip tape on here as well. Fits right in the bag. And then you also have his golf club, which looks like a driver. Pretty cool. A little bit of like grip on there as well, and that will also fit right in the bag. And then his final accessory is his hockey mask. So it's going to be just his loose hockey mask. It is a little bit softer. I do wish they would have just sculpted the straps to where we could at least try to fit it on his head. That was one of my complaints in the last review I did. Basically, the way they sculpted, you could basically just hang it off of something. I think I had it hanging off his baseball bat in the last review, kind of like how they did the 1990 version. So yeah, you can get all the accessories in the bag, and you can even hang his hockey mask right off of one of his weapons. So pretty cool, and it's a fully loaded Casey Jones. Now that's everything that came with the original release, and of course you have the hockey mask. You also get some gripping hands, which of course you're going to need for his weapons. So you get a right gripping hand, you get the left gripping hand, and then there is a slightly smaller gripping hand, so there is a little bit of a variation between them. So you basically get 3 gripping hands. Now I'll show you the new accessories that came with just this figure. Alright, so taking a look at the accessories / interchangeable parts that are only with this version of Casey, you'll basically get 1 new accessory and 6 newly sculpted parts. This umbrella, which is pretty cool, he does use this in the original comics. Matter of fact, in the Raphael book, you could see him jumping off the building, and I believe he has the umbrella open. So you won't be able to open this, but it is 1 more accessory that you could jam into his very loaded golf bag. So that's pretty cool. So the final thing that you get with this figure that you don't get with the regular IDW Colors release is they actually included interchangeable arms, and these have the wraps on them. So that was definitely unexpected. I did not think we would get something like this. So if you want, maybe you could do like his right arm with the wraps and his left arm with the gloves, or you could just do both of them. So you got, both arms with the wraps. So like I said, I definitely didn't expect them to do that. They also include, of course, the wrapped gripping hands. So you get left and you get the right one. And then you even get hands that you never got before, which are these relaxed hands, which I really like these. So you get 1 for the right and 1 for the left. So I've kind of seen NECA do the interchangeable arms before, which of course I know some people are going to warm up, but you can see where it comes out of there. And then you're just going to want to put the new one on. So you got the peg hole, got the peg. Try to do it on camera. Ooh, a little bit of pushing there, and then there you go. Like I said, you could do, if you want, you could mix it up. You could do 1 with the wrapped and 1 with the unwrapped. So I think that looks pretty cool. And here he is with both of the wrapped arms, and they look really good, man. He almost has like a Daredevil type of like look to him. I know like Turtles is heavily inspired by Daredevil, and he often wore like these wraps or like ropes on his hands, and definitely reminds me of that. But yeah, man, they look pretty cool. I think I'm gonna probably leave like maybe the right one on, and I'll just do like the left arm with the glove, kind of like switch it up a bit. But I think they did a really nice job with these. Here he is holding both of the baseball bats, and like I said, I do have the wrapped arm and then the gloved arm, so I think that looks really cool. He does hold the bats really nice, and just like I said in my last review of Casey, you can flex the fingers a little bit to allow to grip those bats a little bit better. And here he is holding the hockey stick. I'm sure there's plenty of two-handed poses that you can get with this guy, but he looks really good with the hockey stick. Here he is holding the golf club, and I did get him with a two-handed pose. I always feel like this one's a little bit harder to hold because golfing, it just can't get that exact golfing pose, but you could still get it in some kind of pose. And finally, here he is holding his new umbrella. So that's pretty cool. I do have him holding it right on the handle itself. So if you want to have him just kind of holding it, ready to do his Singing in the Rain impression, you could definitely do that. So for the first comparison, here he is next to the IDW color scheme Casey Jones, and that's the first release. And you could definitely see a big difference between these two. I love how that red shirt pops. Now this shirt is kind of like a dingy kind of white or like kind of gray shirt. That was definitely in the original comics as well. It's just not as known, I guess, as the red shirt. The classic colors, you got the brown leather gloves, makes a lot more sense. You know, gray jogging pants, again, makes a lot more sense when you think about what color jogging pants are. And then the white sneakers, I mean, they're sneakers, they're not hiking boots. So, yeah, man, those colors definitely look far better to me than the IDW version. I kind of hope we get away from the IDW color scheme in the future. For the next comparison, here he is with the original NECA Mirage Comics Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I just really like these classic Eastman and Laird designs with like the big round noses and everything. But yeah, man, they look awesome next to each other. Here he is with the original Mirage Comics April O'Neil, which was also released many years ago. And I do think they're going to make a new April very soon. And then, of course, you also have the newer Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which are like more of like the Jim Lawson designs, so they're a little bit chunkier, just kind of reflecting a little bit different art style. And then I'll just throw this other Mikey in again just to show you how much different the older Ninja Turtles look compared to the newer ones. So regardless which turtles you have, they're all going to fit about the same height. Even though these guys are chunky, they're not much taller than the classic ones. Here he is next to a couple Shredder figures. So you have the newer release, battle damaged Shredder, which is in those IDW colors. And then you have the 2016 New York Comic Con release of Shredder that's in that more muted red, that classic color scheme. Now with this one, I did take the interchangeable head, not the neck, only the head, and I put it on this old one. So now I have this like kind of battle damaged classic colors version of it. For the last Mirage Comics comparison, here he is with the Mirage Splinter, which is also a newer release. And then this is just the New York Comic Con 2016 Shredder with his standard helmet. I kind of like it more without all like the black markings on the helmet too. It just looks a little bit cleaner, and I kind of like that look a little bit better. But again, they all look really cool next to each other. And then for your final NECA comparison, here is all three Casey Jones next to each other from those classic representations. So you have the 87 Toon, the Mirage Comics Casey, and then the 1990 movie. And these look awesome next to each other. Just so happy to have them kind of just represented the way I remember. And then of course, let's go ahead and throw one more hockey mask character in here. We got the classic Part 3 Jason Voorhees. And then if you haven't seen this one before, this is the NECA Toys Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Universal Monsters crossover. You have the Phantom of the Opera Casey Jones. So really cool pieces to add to your collection. And then for the final comparison, here he is next to some random Casey Jones figures. So you can see you have the original Casey Jones figure, which is loosely based on the 87 cartoon. You have the Mirage Comics Mega Bloks Casey in that kind of black and white gritty look. You have the Mystery Mini made by Funko. It's not the newer one, it's the older Mystery Mini that they had. And then of course you have the 2K3 version of Casey made by Playmates Toys. Now what's really cool is like this version, the original figure, he had the like gripping or grip tape around his right hand, and then he had the glove on his left hand, and that's exactly what I did with this newer NECA version. So I really like that you could do that. But overall, it's cool to have so many different versions of Casey Jones at this point. Alright, so that's my review of the Mirage Comics Classic Colors version of Casey Jones. And overall, I'm very, very happy with this figure. This is one of those IDW color variants that I originally was not thrilled on, especially without that red shirt and those white shoes and those classic jogging pants. So having a new release kind of just fix all those issues. I shouldn't say fix, I should say just base them more on those original colorized versions, not the IDW color versions. Just makes me really, really happy because it's definitely an important figure to me, and I think it's an important figure to a lot of different Turtles fans, and just having them in these classic colors just makes a bigger difference than you'd think. And whether it's the shoes, the shirt, the pants, or just the look altogether, I really think this is going to warrant you to buy another Casey, and just in case you've already bought that first release, because man, this just looks so good. And getting the extra interchangeable parts like the wrapped hands is a really nice feature. And I do wish they definitely would have revisited this unmasked head, alter that just a little bit. But this is pretty much the perfect Mirage Comics Casey Jones as far as I'm concerned. So thanks for watching my review. Please leave a like if you liked the video. If you have a comment or question, go ahead and leave that in the comments section below. And until next time, guys, see ya.